On Halloween night, 1992, millions of viewers tuned in to BBC One expecting a light-hearted ghost hunt. A televised novelty featuring some of the UK's most trusted presenters exploring a supposedly haunted council house in suburban London. What they got instead was one of the most terrifying and unexplained events in British television history. A chilling descent into real-time possession, poltergeist chaos, and a disturbing psychic event that left scars not just on a family, but on the nation's collective psyche. The home in question, a small semi-detached house in Northolt, had long been troubled by strange disturbances. The mother, Pamela Early, and her two daughters had reached out for help after years of unexplained banging. Cold spots, furniture moving on its own, and a shadowy figure lurking in mirrors and corners. Locals called the entity pipes after the children first mistook the strange banging for noisy plumbing. But as the years went on, Pipes revealed himself as something far more sinister, a twisted, malevolent presence with the ability to manipulate its environment and, worse, possess the living. The BBC's investigation team, headed by veteran broadcaster Michael Parkinson, with Sarah Green, Mike Smith, and Craig Charles, entered the house with skepticism, but the tone shifted quickly. Objects moved on their own, a heavy mirror shattered without cause. Children's toys levitated and were hurled across the room. Cold gusts swept through sealed rooms. Viewers calling the BBC hotline reported seeing a shadowy figure on screen, a figure not visible to the camera operators or crew at the time. Pipes began to manifest increasingly often, always in the background, behind curtains, in reflections, or peering silently from the shadows. Each sighting corresponded with a spike in physical activity. Lights exploded, furniture overturned, and strange voices were captured on the crew's microphones. As the investigation continued, the youngest daughter, Suzanne, became increasingly erratic. She entered trances, her voice distorted and guttural. She scratched herself, screamed in voices not her own, and began referring to Pipes in the third person, as if he were inside her. When Green and her camera crew ventured into the back of the house to investigate a sealed under-the-stairs cupboard, they found the area littered with dead animals, foul-smelling fluids, and the crude remnants of what appeared to be ritualistic symbols scratched into the walls. Moments later, the live feed from inside the house went dead. Back in the studio, viewers watched as the call lines overloaded. The BBC switchboard reportedly received tens of thousands of calls in minutes, many from viewers saying things were happening in their own homes. Sudden cold winds, broken electronics, voices on radios, even sightings of the same dark figure. Studio cameras began to malfunction. Michael Parkinson, trying to maintain composure, gradually became confused. His speech slurred. He repeated phrases. Behind him, monitors flickered with static and ghostly faces. Lights burst. Equipment died. As the broadcast entered its final minutes, Parkinson stared blankly into the camera and began chanting in a deep, broken voice, not his own. "Round and round the garden," he muttered, quoting a children's rhyme the spirit had been known to mimic. Then the screen went black. What happened next has never been fully explained. The BBC officially claimed Ghostwatch was a drama, and that everything, from the house to the possession, was fictional. The program was never re-aired. The cast and crew vanished from public view for weeks. Sarah Green was reportedly hospitalized for trauma, while her husband, Mike Smith, became reclusive. Witnesses, however, including BBC staff, emergency responders, and members of the viewing public, tell a very different story. Several BBC technicians refused to return to the studio after the event. At least one child viewer was reportedly hospitalized with night terrors that persisted for months. Paranormal researchers noted a nationwide surge in poltergeist activity in the days following the broadcast, as if something had been unleashed through the screen, though officially denied. The spirit known as Pipes has since become one of the most terrifying figures in modern paranormal folklore. Allegedly, once a man who died in the house after years of mental illness, he is now believed by some investigators to have become a vessel for darker, older forces. His appearance: a gaunt figure with deep eye sockets, a shattered nose, and wearing a tattered dressing gown. In later alleged sightings, Pipes appears in mirrors, behind the shoulders of the living, or crouched in the shadows, smiling faintly. Those who claim to have seen him report severe emotional distress, recurring nightmares, and an overwhelming feeling that they were not alone, even in their own homes. Though widely debunked by skeptics, some theorists insist that Ghostwatch was an experiment in psychic contagion, a ritual disguised as television. The idea that mass focus on a spirit could strengthen or free it, turning the nation itself into a conduit. Whether a sophisticated hoax, an accidental breach between worlds, or something darker, one truth remains. After Ghostwatch, paranormal activity across the UK increased noticeably, and many viewers were left with scars that time hasn't erased. Even today, those who revisit the original broadcast sometimes claim to hear a strange knocking behind them as they watch, or see, just for a moment, a shadowy figure watching from the corner of the room. Some doors should never be opened. On Halloween night in 1992, one of them was. Many thanks for treading this tale's dark path. If its chill gripped you, like, subscribe, and comment below.